Yeah, can't get his ass. Don't get some of that shit, kid. Where you going over here? You gonna come in off? Come in off, nigga. Don't come around here. This is not that amateur shit. Come around here playing? What are you talking about? Yeah, nah, hell nah.
Yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Tuesday Tussle for this Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. This is part 2 of the significance of a stable psyche. You know, last week when we had this show and discussion, I had used an interview that took place between Fight Hub, Michael Hayes, and Keyshawn Davis, and it served my subject very well. But if you just saw the clip that I played, here we are for part 2 of the show, And I wasn't done talking about this young man. And lo and behold, we can't get a week through without him doing, saying, behaving right along the lines that found me using him as an example for my subject last week, as he gives us even more to witness.
Yeah, can't get his ass, King. Let me get some of that shit, King. Hold on. What are you doing over here? You gonna come to North? Come to North? Come to North, nigga. Don't come around here. This is not that amateur shit. You come around here playing? Be talking about? What they say? Yeah, nah, hell no.
You see, Keyshawn Davis was videoed after the fight that took place between Ray Moritai and Andy Cruz last week. That was him outside the arena with a friend of his, and they were celebrating the fact that Moritai won a decision over Andy Cruz in a fight that was one of the most compelling matches between a solid boxer and a boxer puncher than we've seen in a long time. It was a very good fight, a very close fight, seeing the two combatants, especially since there was only a year separating them in age, with Cruz being 30 and Moritai being 29, but with Moritai being the more experienced pro, whereas Cruz has an adornment of amateur and Olympic accolades, primarily over Keyshawn I keep saying Johnson because of the football player, Keyshawn Davis, where he defeated him, I believe, no less than 4 times. It could have been more. I wasn't following their amateur careers, but if I'm not mistaken, at least a minimum of 4 times, Cruz defeated Keyshawn. And when they got to the pros, Cruz was more than willing and ready to take on Keyshawn once again. And Keyshawn has avoided that opportunity. But as you saw in his behavior in this video, he's celebrating the fact that Cruz lost the decision to Moritai as if he did it, or if someone like it was Shakur Stevenson, his so-called blood brother, right? And the very immature display of emotion off of that fight result. So here we are, like I said, not only a week removed from where I was using him as the basis for my subject last week. For those of you who were in tune with the subject from last week, please put a 1 in the chat so I'll know who you are. Shout out to my brother Champside, as I am also on this evening. I'm supporting Champside with my Champside Press 1 T. Yeah. So if you were here last week to catch me talking about this, I am going to resume where I left off. Because just to go along with that film clip that I just showed you, the video of Keyshawn's immature display, listen to what he says when I play this audio clip from his Fight Hub video interview with Marcus Hayes. I'm telling you, you cannot make this stuff up. But this young man, maybe the boxing ring is not the place for him at this particular time. And I'm not talking about because he was celebrating Andy Cruz's loss. I'm talking about his mental security, where he is as a young man right now. We saw of him when he was supposed to headline a card in his hometown, he blew that situation by missing weight intentionally. And when his opponent decided not to go through with the fight was scrapped. But the card went on. His brother lost to Nair Albright in a fight that was heading on that card. And then later, after that fight was over, they stormed Albright's locker room and attacked him. Total street garbage. You know these guys who say, I'm from the streets? Here you go. Is that something to be proud of? Absolutely not. But this is, again, something that needs to be addressed. The significance of a stable psyche, particularly in the sport of boxing. We all know the news that's surrounding Gervonta Tank Davis at this present time. Another example of instability and people who are enablers around these fighters. You see, when Keyshawn spoke in his interview with Fight Hub last week, he spoke of getting rid of the team of the B&B camp, headed up by Brian Bomac McIntyre, right? Well, he talked about these people that are around him now, that they've been with him since he was young, a young amateur starting out. And he never knew that they were going to get into boxing or whatever, but they'd known him all his life. Well, according to that video that was taken, that I just displayed, if they've been with him all his life, someone should have been able to tell him, hey man, that's not the way. That's not what to do. But enablers, you heard me use that word earlier, right? Enablers will allow for these subjects to run rampant. It's just like poor parenting. And then they want to cry foul when their subject has run afoul and is in trouble with either fines, arrests, being on the police blotter, whatever. It's like all of this is not good. It's not good for the people that are supposed to be working with the fighters, and it's not good for the people in society when they're released out into the world to run rampant and do things that can harm others. Hey, it has to be said. I am talking about it because it needs to be talked about. But listen to this soundbite. I saved it at this particular point from the interview between Davis and Hayes from last week. And I thought that what I just showed you with that video clip runs perfect, hat in hand, with what we're talking about. Listen to Keyshawn's words very carefully.
It's nothing to me to hide things, hide my true emotions. It's fucking nothing. You understand what I'm saying? It's nothing. I think that's one of the reasons why I just fight so good. Because when I do fight, yeah, that's what I'm on type shit. You know what I mean? So it was nothing for them guys. Them guys don't personally know me like that. I just started working with these guys for 4 years, like 3 years. You know what I'm saying? These guys don't really personally know me like that. You know what I'm saying? Like within that time, we still get to know each other through training camps. I'm not.
Now, he said that he is good at hiding his feelings. Let's back step on that remark alone. I'll talk about what he said after that too, but did it look like he was hiding his feelings and emotions, celebrating the fact that Ray Morataya defeated Andy Cruz, his old nemesis? Did that seem like he was in control of himself or his feelings? I mean, I'm just asking. You see? Because when you think about it, he seemed to be erratic, off page, overexcited about something that had nothing to do with him. I am going to read to you something that came to me this morning in a biblical scripture, and I saved it. And it's interesting. I just thought of it for what I just said. And this is so appropriate to what we're discussing. I did not come up with this. But you see, when you're talking truth and real stuff, this is what God sends your way. See, I'm talking to anyone out there across the world who's watching this channel and this show right now or will catch the replay. So I have to represent in a proper fashion. This is a biblical scripture that came to me earlier today. Proverbs 24:17-18. Do not gloat when your enemy fails. When they stumble, do not let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see and disapprove and turn his wrath away from them. People, I am not making this up. As God is my witness, that came to me earlier today. My subject for this evening was a continuing part 2 to what I began to speak about Keyshawn last week and the significance of a stable psyche. And I opened it with the display of his behavior. I had not even thought about reading you this scripture until I just said something and the thought came into my mind. Oh yeah, tell them about your scripture that you ran across this morning. So this was not planned, but it was predestined because that's how God works. And he manifests where you are being sincere and earnest. This is how it comes about. I could not have put that together. That's spiritual. That's divine intervention. I want to say salute to the brother EJ over there on Rumble with donations. He says, first, for the Tuesday Tussle, Sensei, your knowledge and wisdom is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, EJ. And then the second one, he says, good Lord, Keyshawn Davis, raccooning at its finest. Bro made a fool out of himself. You can't make this ish up. That's right. That's right. But how about that biblical scripture, huh? That was something that, I did not make that up, you guys. I did not. It came to me earlier today, and I was supposed to be obedient and share that with you, such as I did. Amazing stuff. You know? And we have a Cash App donation from the brother, Mr. Shelton. Appreciate you out there. He says, swine, my brother. Thank you so much, Mr. Shelton. I appreciate your support, brother. Thank you so much. But yeah, think about this. Yeah, think about this, man. Again, you can't make this stuff up. So, with what he was saying in that interview, that he has no trouble hiding his feelings or hiding who he truly is. Well, that video outburst begs to differ, huh? And when he said or suggested that the several camps over 4 years of working with B&B, that they don't know him? Oh, I think they know you pretty good after 4 years of camps, young man. But it is not their position to put on display feeling or emotion of who you are. They were trying to make you a better fighter, which is what they were being paid to do. But you showed them who you are, even more so by going public with your denigrating remarks against them when they've shown nothing but class, including the fact that BMAC said that, hey, I'd rather not even get into anything regarding that man. I like him. I wish him well as he goes on his journey. That's class. That's class. Now, let me tie something in with you. Who is his good friend, his down-to-the-earth brother, the one he say they'll never fight, and that he has taken good care of him and looked after him and all of this, that, and the third, or whatever? Who is that person? Anybody in the chat know the name of the person? Can you remind me? Because I'm getting a little older, you know, and I done had a birthday in December, so you know, my mind might be going, huh? My memory may be failing me. But can any of you remember who that guy is that Keyshawn has claimed to be his brother that he'll never fight in the ring? Huh? Let me see. I think I know. Let me see. Yeah. Now, I'm mentioning that because birds of a feather flock together. That's an old saying. Some of you of these new school days, you might not know that saying. But what that means is partners in crime usually run along and they do the same type of time. Huh? Yes. In other words, Shakur has embraced this guy, calls him his brother, his good friend. With friends like that, people, you don't need enemies because they're both close, huh? Yeah. I'm just telling you, when I say the significance of a stable psyche, understand that Shakur has a fight coming up this weekend against Teofimo Lopez, who is another sort that could be filling the seat right here with Keyshawn and Shitty Cuz, huh? But I'm mentioning this to you because it's fruit bared from the same tree, my people. Without doubt. Without doubt. You see how I connect the dots there? This is nothing to be proud of. Nothing to be proud of. If anyone knows that these young men need to get their act together, it's myself. And celebrating them for a bout that they may win in a boxing match or whatever, and not being concerned of them with their personal characteristic traits that be so poor that you have to be concerned for them when they're amongst the public. This is without question. But I'm telling you, you have to pay attention to what's going on. Many people don't care. But you should. Because when something bad happens and people like this crash out, that's a term that y'all use today now, right? Or fall off the cliff, I like to say. What happens is it affects you emotionally. Because you may be supporters of them. You may like to watch their fights. And you may have watched a few fights that they've had on broadcast. So you're familiar. So therefore, it's a destructive, downer element that is introducing itself to you and pulling you down. Why are you most emotionally attached to circumstances such as this and individuals who can be celebrated such as they, when you're not pointing out the shortcomings of where they need to really shore things up and get better as men? I'm telling you, this stuff writes itself. Let's listen to more of what Keyshawn had to say.
Not with these guys outside of training camp. You understand what I'm saying? So even with that 4 years, if we talking 2 months of training camps, I was probably with these guys for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like it was nothing for these guys, for me, to not allow these guys to really know what's going on with me, bro.
So was it something where, like, it was like in the evening, like you hear about some fighters eating candy bars and things like that after they train? Was it you just kept like a little shot bottle, or?
I'm not really gonna touch too much on that, but what I can say is, again, I should never made that comment because it does make them look bad, and that wasn't my intentions.
Now, as he's talking to Marcus Hayes, he's looking all over the place. His eyes are wandering around. Deceitful. He's not stable. Then he grabs something to drink. Was that alcohol? Or was it water or juice? Marcus Hayes, who continues on with this subject, even though he's saying he really don't want to talk about it, should have asked it. Are you having alcohol right now? Boom. The reaction he would have got would have told you everything that you needed to know. He says it wasn't his intent to be denigrating toward the B&B camp. You see? But the thing about this is, you're paying people to do a job professionally, and they have proven over the past few years, particularly when you look at Terrence Bud Crawford's success, have been very efficient and proficient at what they do. You're not even out of your 20s yet, young man. Early in your 20s, and you're making statements as if you're worldly. You're not. And the worst part of that is there is no one to rein you in. You see, Bomac should have dropped him a long time ago. I'll tell you something. Bomac is a heck of a guy because he was trying to give the young man a chance and opportunity to turn a curve. Now, the day may come when he does turn a curve or turn a page and become better as a result of having these circumstances that are not so favorable. But sometimes the scars, bruises, and aches and pains of those circumstances run very deep, and it's not necessarily a good thing. You don't always have to go through to break through. You know, growing up, I was one of those guys that I could learn by somebody else's mess up, right? I'd be like, he got about 8 to 10 stitches off of that one. I ain't going that way. Yeah. But then there were times I still had to get my lumps and bumps too. What he just implied about those men in that training camp, where would he get top flight exposure and opportunity to learning the aspects of the sport? Where would he get that? If not for B&B. And you can tell because when Bernie, the boxer, gave his interview, they had no knowledge of these things that he spoke of. So they were like feeling that he was on his way for that fight he was supposed to take on. But you know what? If you go back and you watch the weigh-in when he got on that scale and they gave the weight, and you watch Bomac's reaction, that tells you tons. Because they thought that this young man was disciplined and he was where he needed to be. But someone is getting ready to give him another chance this coming Saturday. Whether it's undeserving or not, he still hasn't learned his lesson. Salute to EJ back in that donation on Rumble. He says, even little Johnny knows that Keyshawn is full of ish. Your last camp knows you, bro. Absolutely. But notice how I talk about these guys who conduct these interviews. Fight Hub, Fight Hype, Sean Shittel, Radio Raccoon, all of these guys. Ade Adedipo and that guy that pairs up with him, the Irishman. Listen, all of these guys, you don't hold the fighters accountable. And by not doing that, the sport loses much integrity because they think that it's okay. That's just like you don't hold them accountable for when you conduct an interview because you want to broadcast your interview on the internet. You say, hey, we're going to keep this language free and clean, right? We're going to talk. You can speak emotionally and you can speak passionately, but you don't have to be profane. You don't have to. And see, without that line of discipline, without that border to cross, and you allow them to do as they want to, as I said, the sport loses integrity. A bit more, a bit more, a bit more. Just because a man can swear doesn't mean that he always should. There's a time and a place for everything. Show some dignity. Show class. Act like you care what and who you represent. Behave as if you've had some home training. We know that you probably haven't had much. But I'll tell you and give you an example of it. Say you're driving kind of recklessly down the street. You're kind of hitting the gas and screeching your tires, and, that's how you drive. But when you see that squad car, don't you straighten up a little bit? Don't you watch your speed? Don't you say, oh shit, I hope he don't get behind me. I ain't got my wallet with me. I ain't got my license on me. I ain't got my license up to date. I ain't got this. I ain't got that. It's yada, yada, yada. But it's that feeling when you notice the lawman in that squad car. It make you straighten up a little bit in your seat, don't it? It make you sit up. You might even turn the music down or whatever, huh? Why is that? What makes a person do that? I'll tell you what makes a person do that. Your familiarity with understanding you can be in trouble within minutes, huh? Yeah. That's what that is. To Brent Fox out there, who says, the less I know personally, the better off I am. Sometimes that's good to be out of the loop with certain things. It does have its place. But knowledge can be a burden, because being in the know and still messing up means that you're kind of making certain choices, doesn't it? You see? Accountability. It always circles back to accountability. Always. There are people who could lead by example, with fortitude and inspiration. Some will just beat the path and you can follow the trail. There are others who run from responsibility. They turn their back because they know that at some point during the action or interaction, somebody's going to hold them to the stone and be like, hey, you. And in this day and time, there are very few who want to accept the plate of responsibility. They don't want to say, hey, I got it. I'll do it. Take me. Count on me. And for someone who does take that step and are rewarded or awarded something, they get jealous of them. Who he think he is? Oh, they think they. But it could have been you. All it would have taken is you applying yourself. But with the lack of motivation, the lack of inspiration, the lack of being one that seeks out the opportunity to make something better and be proven in what you do with your moves and decisions, You're holding yourself back, but you're angry at the world. Undignified. We see a lot of this. I'll play a little bit more of this sound bite from Davis.
Also, I want to touch on, I should never made the comment like back then when I was like, I got a new team. I should never made that comment. Like, people took that and ran with that. I was talking about BNB. I was not talking about it, you know what I'm saying? I was just saying I got a new team. And then the media created a narrative, as they do, you know what I'm saying? So I just got to take accountability of, I should never said this shit in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Just like with this, what we talking about right now. So I don't want nobody to look bad at the end of the day off of what I was doing at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I just wish I never said that. And I'm going to be better next time.
But brother, don't ever think that telling the truth is ever a real problem, because it's not. The truth truly shall set you free, and you live in a world where the truth is dominating everything else. Don't ever be afraid to tell your truth. Your truth is your truth, and you have a right to speak your truth. Now, if you don't want to talk it through the whole world, I get that, because you seem like a pretty private fella. But at the same time, you know, it kind of took me aback as well, kind of being around you guys and seeing you guys together. I was with you guys in San Bernardino, I think in March when your brother fought. You know, I saw you with your baby in the stroller. It seemed like you guys were really close, and it just goes to show you just never know how comfortable someone feels with something that is that close to heart as something like that. But truly, are you past that stuff, Keyshawn, truly?
Hell yeah. If I was still on that, I wouldn't even be fighting on this car right now. God wouldn't have blessed me with this blessing. Like, this is a blessing. Me getting on this car was a very long process. It wasn't just one phone call. Like, it was like, damn, I really got to go about this a whole nother direction, because it's not going to happen how it used to happen. I got to figure this shit out for me and my brothers. Like, no cap, you know what I'm saying? We side with Jay Prince. Again, that was a process. That wasn't just no 1-2 phone calls. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I never had a manager for my career. We was saying our mother was our manager just to give her a spotlight, but our mother was never our manager. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, you know what I'm saying? So, she the manager of my life, not in boxing. You know what I'm saying?
You know, there's so much to unpack with this young man, with what he says. Every time he opens his mouth, he's all over the place. And if you could see him in this interview, you can look at his face expression and how his eyes are darting around, because he's unfocused. I honestly think that he doesn't really believe in anything, and possibly not even himself. And the worst part about that is there are people who would love to help him, but he's getting in his own way. Boxing is the last thing he should be doing right now. Yeah, Columbia, he's talking off the top of his head, but that's a very scarce place to speak from because there's not a lot of activity up there. And that's why I'm speaking and pointing things out. Do you see why I titled the show The Significance of a Stable Psyche? Now, you've seen one-on-one interviews conducted with the likes of O'Shaquie Foster, and there's a few other fighters out there. And I use O'Shaquie as an example because I just caught an interview with him yesterday where he was very well spoken in talking about his career, his life, and everything. And he wants to be one of the best in the sport. He says he feels he is the best. And I like that. That's confidently speaking because he's aiming to prove it with every waking chance he gets. But someone like this young man, do you know, after that situation, he never really even apologized publicly. He could have done it privately, but there was no public apology to the people who bought tickets to his event, to the people who created this opportunity for him, to the other fighter that he was supposed to face, to the fighter that he and his brothers attacked. He made mockery of everything. And see, these guys, they go to talking about, well, I got God in my life and this and that, blah, blah, blah. The last thing you should be talking about is God with that type of behavior. I don't say that from judgmental. I say it from critiquing the fact that in order to have a well to draw from, the well must have a replenishing of what to draw from it, right? But if you're drawing from an empty place, then that which you draw is of nothingness. Talk about these things, people. There's a lot to unpack, definitely. Salute to Joe Townsend, who dropped into the building. What's happening with you? But yeah, can you guys see why I picked this young man to be a key figure point of my subject? I would like to see something happen to him positively. Maybe even remove him from the sport for a duration. Ratchet since 91. I see you out there as well, brother. Brett Fox. Joe the Beast. Shyland. Ravens Nation. Universal Truth, Stephen L. Lamack, Junior the Truth, Columbia, I appreciate you putting those links in the chat for me. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Chilltown Majors out there, the brother Drew Titan. So, again, as I wind this down, I could go even deeper, but I don't want to do that because it's not about peeling back the layers of this situation. It's presenting that this is happening, but with a lot of the fighters from the U.S. Because some of the fighters that I'm seeing from overseas, even though they may have personal problems and issues, unless certain information is being withheld. But it's different when the information is being withheld. That means that someone has a grip on things. But over here, these young men are crashing out. It's bad, people. And we need a turnaround, a serious turnaround. And it could start with some of these coaches and trainers by not even working with some of these guys unless they get their act together. Because that's a foremost priority too, is to have your act together. So, I'm going to get ready to call it an evening for you guys. But it was something to be able to present this subject to you and let you know exactly what's going on, what I'm dealing with, what I'm presenting to you, all of that. Because this is like, man, it's crazy, people. It's crazy. How many of you feel like this presentation enlightened you some kind of way? I'd like to see a show of hands out there in the chat if you felt like this presentation enlightened you. Yeah, Joe Townsend, I gotta stay warm. Gotta give me some of that drink though. I'm gonna get some, man. Yeah, I get some. And I have some. Pour me a little bit of it when I do my show. Boy, y'all really get entertained in and be like, man, Stormy been drinking. I'll be on here like, you raggedy. Be like, oh, please stand by. There's a sign that come up on the thing. Be like, get him off the air. YouTube would love that from me, boy. They'd be like, oh, we got him now. Let's take him down. But I'll be like, hey, I'm over on Rumble, y'all. Pouring a second glass. Joe Townsend says, we have fighters who are a disgrace to our people, but are being coddled because they can become a champion. Disgusting. Oh, brother, you don't know the half of it, man. And I talk about it. You know, I talk about it, but I could really go deeper than I do, because some people would be like, oh man, you just ripping so-and-so to shreds or whatever. But no, listen. Teachers and coaches have to have a disciplinary line that you don't cross. Otherwise, it's off you go, because you become a disruptive element to what they're trying to do. And see, that's what differs with me and some of the others, because I recognize when I come on here to do what I do and share with you guys, yeah, we can laugh and have some good time and all of that, but it's never to be played with. You should always be able to go back and defer to the message that's being conveyed. That's very important. So, yeah. And I stand by that brand. Yep. Some people don't know how to stand, period, man. It's like, you know. And I've decided, you guys, not to do any premieres this week. No breakdowns of the upcoming fights this weekend. Nope. Stormy taking a break from that. Y'all don't be not enough numbers supporting the videos anyway, so that's a break well needed for me. Huh? You can go get some of your information from some of those death traps, huh? Because they're definitely gonna have you in the sewer. Yeah! But I'll tell you one thing, I ain't gonna be there with you. I'm gonna be the one talking about how bad you smell, huh? Man, you still down there with that mess? Oh, you need to clean up. Oh yeah, I'm still gonna talk my mess now. I'm gonna talk it. That's what you gotta realize. Stormy gonna talk his mess. Yeah. Yeah, Joe Townsend, that's right. Yeah, reclaiming my time, huh? I ain't got much more of it left, so might as well enjoy it for me, huh? Be lined with suckers up here. The hell they on? But yeah, I'm gonna get ready to get on out of here. I got a crock pot cooking, so my meal that's cooking in that crock pot will be ready sometime in the morning, so I'll be able to take something with me to work. Yeah, but appreciate that, Brent Fox. It's nice to hear that. It'd be a blessing if there were more who felt that way, but you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Rome wasn't built in a day, but it fell in one. Yeah! You see, Stormy be quick with the comeback, right? Yeah, but I'm out of here, man. You guys have a great rest of your week. I hope some of y'all enjoy the fights if that's what you own. Hey, enjoy them. Not me. I'm going to be chilling. But shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we'll catch you on the next one. Yeah.